for the XBD game crawler. The changes are actually many, but they're not visible. So what I can do for this is to demonstrate it with some diagrams. It's about a game generation, area generation, and all this stuff. Let's go. So what we see here is how are the location and the areas related to each other. We see that when the game starts, it creates locations, and then at some point the game ends. This could be almost infinite, in some cases also infinite. And in each location, for example this one, you have the areas, which the areas have the information of what you play. So basically we go from one area, the current, to the next one, and this is the process. And these are actually the new additions. We had only one, now we have 3 more mechanisms of deciding how we go to the next area and how we decide that. So we have the random way, which is a special random way, chain force, chain flexible, chain index. Today I will show you 2 of these, more or less how they work, and let's go. Chain forced is the easiest one to explain. Each area has information of the next areas. So when we start the game, we start on a start area. This is a kind of important. And then we look at its areas that are of this type. Chain area decides one, and this becomes the next one. And this area has its own information about the upcoming one, and this becomes a chain. If it has none, then the game ends. Basically the location ends because we go then to the next location, the random one. In this case it's not purely random. There are parameters that we can set, and the information about the areas are stored inside the location and not on the areas this time. And it goes into 3 phases: the start phase, the main phase, and the end phase. If you go with the start phase, then we have a list of areas that can work as a start. So we pick one of these, and then we go to the main phase. The main phase has 2 types of areas as a list, as a pool: the non-key and the key. The key areas are used only once. The non-key can be used many times. They're repeating in a way. They are refillable actually. So we have a list of these areas and one value, a limit. We can have a limit that is infinite, or we can have a random range. The same thing with the key. The key can be, in this case the infinite it means all. So we need a limit here, so we know when we stop. This loops many times, and at some point it might end. There's a possibility that if you have infinite limit and areas here on the repeating one, the non-key, that it stays here forever. this is an option. You can leave any of these empty in the end and it just keeps the face. And the end face are the end areas. If you want, it's optional, you can have them like a boss days or whatever. It picks all of them one by one in this case. And let's say an example, because actually I wanted to, and I want to have Germany as the first location in the game, at least in the starting universe that I will put in the game. So this actually solves a problem, in this case with a chain forced. Let's say we start in Berlin and we want to have a kind of this kind of structure, and then at some point I want to go away from the Germany and go somewhere else. This is one location in this case, and the areas are cities, and it will be also smaller areas like in between that have no name. And the logic here is represent left. This is a classic chain forced, where when we reach an end, we have to exit. And in this case, I can manage better the routes and not have it purely random. Yep, and that's way easier than it took me to make it. Till next time.